In the last 8 years, I've been an active angel investor myself. Prior to that, I was a serial entrepreneur who started 7 companies, exited 5 of them very successfully, 2 by IPO, and the rest were private transactions. So please join me for this video series, and I hope it helps you raise some capital for your early stage company. Let's talk about your go-to-market strategy and your sales traction. This is something that's very close to my heart. I come from a sales and marketing background, so I always really sit up and pay attention when the entrepreneur starts talking about this portion of their business. I'm looking for several things. Number one, I want to understand how you're selling to your customers. And there are many different ways to do that. And sometimes you don't have to choose one, you can choose multiple strategies. That can be a direct sales approach, where you're actually going out and approaching customers one-to-one, or building a sales team to directly sell to your customers. This is often a very good strategy early on in your development because it allows you to get direct customer feedback. It allows you to sell directly to your prospects, understand what they need, pivot your company, pivot your solution to really tailor and create what's called a product market fit. So that's often a good strategy to get started at that direct sales. And as an investor, I like to know that you met with customers and really understand what they're looking for. That may be enough to sustain you. Build your own sales team and get going, depending upon the size of the companies, depending upon how or the customers that you're selling to. If you're an online company, you're going to be doing a lot of direct sales type activities. Getting your website up and running, doing online marketing campaigns, using social media influencers, these types of things. So I really want to understand if you're selling to a business or a consumer, how do you plan to get the eyeballs and then convert those eyeballs into customers? If you're in a business-to-business type environment, and even sometimes in a business-to-consumer, you can also use indirect sales channels. These are things like partnerships and or licensing that will get your product or service into another group that already has direct sales force or a direct customer base. So can you leverage existing relationships to build your company through what the company or your partners have already built together? So think about that as a great opportunity. Your sales funnel. This is super important. I need to understand who are you going to be talking to? Who is in your funnel? Who have you already spoken with? Who are you trying to convert to customers? And what are the steps in that funnel? Is it from an initial meeting to a proposal, to a quotation, maybe to an interview, then to a sale? So I want to understand, do you understand what those steps are to get a customer? And so it's important for you to tell me that you know what those steps are to get a customer. And then do you know your success percentage at each step along the way? That tells me that if you can get more companies in the top of the funnel, you know what to do with them, or more prospects in the top of the funnel, you know what to do with them. You can get them and progress them all the way down to a customer. Now online that looks different. It might be like we get them to sign up for a free trial, and then we offer them several offers and content, and then we try to convert them ultimately. So think about that funnel. It works for business to consumer and business to business equally as well. But it's important that I understand as an investor that you understand what that funnel looks like. Because again, as I mentioned previously, that's going to help define your financial projections and really make them credible. Whenever possible, try to talk about an existing customer relationship. Here's a customer that was having a problem. Here's a solution we brought to them. Here's how we sold them. And here's how we're growing within that company. You may have a land and expand strategy where we just want to get people to buy just a small little portion of what we offer, because we know once we've done that, we can expand that relationship and increase the amount of money and products that they buy with us, either within that one location or they have multiple locations or thousands of locations around the world. Can we land and expand within those companies? It's great to hear about those companies, and whenever possible, try to gather a company testimonial. We're really happy with this company, with ABC Company, who you're presenting, because they chose us from amongst 50 different competitors. Here's why they chose us, and here's what they say about our solution. So a testimonial from those companies really goes a long way in building credibility to your overall company and your sales strategy. Definitely don't skip over your churn rate. So we want to understand, of course, what it costs you to get a customer, your customer acquisition costs. I've talked about that previously. We want to understand the long-term value, the lifetime value of a customer. So we want to figure out sort of what does that look like, how long do you expect them to stay with you as a customer, and what revenue can you generate. But also we want to know what your churn rate is. Super important to spend some time here to tell us what percentage of your customers are you losing every year or every month. Because that will tell us to get back to your current revenue. If you're losing 20% of your customers every year, you've got to sell 20% of your current customer base just to get back to break even in where your revenue was last year. So focus on keeping that churn rate low. Tell me how you're closing the door. It's great to have the front door to welcome in all kinds of new customers, but if the back door is wide open and the customers are just running out the back door, you're going to have a really hard time growing. Let's talk about growth for a minute when it comes to your go-to-market strategy. Sometimes as a company evolves, that strategy needs to change in order for you to really scale up and grow more rapidly. I mentioned earlier, you can start with a direct sales process where you have a few salespeople, you're out selling, you're figuring out your product market fit, which is great, but that may not scale to grow you fast enough to keep investors interested. So how are you going to multiply that? And will your current sales model sort of grow with you? Does your sales strategy scale? If not, how are you going to change your sales strategy so it is going to scale with you and accelerate the growth? So think about that as a long-term plan. This type of go-to-market strategy is kind of like, here's what we've done before, here's what we're doing today, and here's what we expect to do in the future. Spend the time here. This really builds credibility as we ramp up and get people interested in investing in your company. Thanks for listening to Lessons from 1,000 Pitches. I hope you found the content useful. I'd like to make an offer to everyone. Once you've gone through the series and you believe you have a deck that is ready to present to early stage investors, I encourage you to send us a copy of that deck for us to review. If we believe there is maybe a connection between what you're doing and what our investors are looking for at Credit Forum Canada, we'll send you an invitation to present that company to our deal screening committee via Zoom. We do these sessions every month and we have a continuous intake. So if and when you're ready, please do reach out to Credit Forum Canada. We're always looking for great investment opportunities, and maybe you're the next entrepreneur that will turn into a unicorn. Thanks for listening and good luck with your company.